What's going on, everyone, and welcome into Field Pass Hockey's the first ever live stream of the Holy Grail. We're going to watch some Western Conference Finals hockey tonight. We're going to watch it with you all, provide our commentary. We're going to have the game center pulled up here. We've got our Chicago Wolves beat writer and AHL editor Andrew Rinaldi is on his way. So y'all are going to want to hear all of his commentary on this game. Zach and I are nothing more than just like little color commentators because he's going to have the analysis for you like mad. So I'm really excited to get him in here. How are you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing good. Catching the early part of this game in a nothing score, I got to say that it's been not only a close one, but you're starting to see little forms of Chicago now because there's a little bit of power play issues before getting into the first period. So we're kind of into a fresh slate, as it were, which is going to make for a great period. I know that the announcers kind of mentioned it before, but this has been such a tight contest, a tight series so far, and we're up here in the record books with most overtimes to date. So we're on that track now.
And it looks like Chicago finally now starting to generate some shots on goal. In the first period, 4 penalty kills for the Wolves. They managed to find themselves down a man 4 times, and they kill it off each and every time. So they're outshot 14-6 in the first, but honestly, glad to know they're still in this one after that first because it was a little rough discipline-wise. But Andrew Rinaldi is here, everybody. Welcome on in. Can this team stay out of the box?
No. No, and I actually can't believe it because they gave them 12 power play opportunities over their last 2 games that they lost. And what's their solution? Just keep taking more penalties. It's mind-boggling. I was like keeping track while I was on the golf course watching it going on, and I'm like losing my mind, which was great because I had an awful day on the golf course. So it was able to at least take me away from that bad attitude that I had and transferred that negative energy towards somewhere else that was just possibly as negative as it was before. So I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hey, we're not bad. We're catching some 5-on-3 action right now for the Wolves. Obviously a team that can score, has had no issues scoring, but just hasn't been able to figure out.
Look at that. It's a 5-on-3 and you can't even get a shot on that. Wow, that's wonderful.
Well, is there something to be said about the quality of shots though? I mean, if you like the shot board is up right now, right? Those are shots, right?
Right. There's shots on that, yes.
Yeah. Look at all.
What's
There's
going on with that?
only 1 shot past the circles. That's got to be for something.
Yeah.
You got to shoot. Like Josh Levo has a clear shot laying to the net, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to try and pass this across." Like, shoot the puck. Shoot the puck.
Yeah.
You got the most goals in the playoffs right now. Why are you passing? Why are you ever passing? You have the hottest stick in the league. Shoot the puck.
Correct. And I mean, like when you're playing against a goaltender like Dustin Wolf, like the way to solve him is by peppering him with shots. I mean, like he's gonna slip up.
Yeah, no, I advertise this as Unhinged Beat Reporter, and you're getting it. Oh, you're getting it. And especially on that god-awful sheet of ice in Stockton, California, I was hoping they would learn to just shoot because you're not going to have these pretty plays available. A, Stockton's too good to give it. B, Dustin Wolf is too good to give it up. C, the ice is – I'll keep this PG – the ice is just not good enough for those kinds of plays to develop, and you just got to fire it and hope and crash the net, hope for a rebound, hope for something ugly. And that's really what it is. Stockton has out-uglied them the last 2 games, and it's resulted in 2 straight wins in extra time, give or take. But look at this. This is ugly hockey and not in a good way. I mean, Chicago is just not – outside of that game 1 where they've really managed to just work this Stockton penalty kill, they've really just been kind of their own brand of unhinged over these last couple of games. It's been the lack of adapting. Stockton will sit there at the blue line and they won't give you entries. And instead of going over their heads and dumping the puck in and getting after it, Chicago is just like, oh, I guess we're just not getting into the zone. Oh, well. And it's been really frustrating to watch, if you couldn't tell by the tone of my voice. But I'm hoping at least this team can learn to play just 5-on-5 hockey and get after it. Get after it. They don't. I've watched this game for 30 seconds and they just look not cohesive. Like they're scared to play with the puck. Why? Why are you scared? I'm not saying they're scared. I kind of just asked why are you scared, but I'm not actually saying they're scared. I'm saying they look scared. And you're in front of your home crowd. You got a clean sheet of ice, definitely as opposed to what you've been skating on the last 3 games. Stay out of the box and just play your game. That's all it's going to take.
Yeah. No doubt. How about that shade? And I don't know if Andrew, you got a chance to see the intermission interview, but Zach, how about that shade in the intermission interview about Stockton?
It was kind of blunt. I gotta admit, I was like, are you like? I know that the ice was bad, but like, and I get there's beat bias as there were, but oh Lord, if you want a nice unfiltered interview, you're gonna want to head to AHL TV, rewind that. Oh Lord.
Oh, do we have a goal?
Oh, they had the lights going, but that did not go in.
No.
That wasn't even really close. So I don't know why. I mean,
I got
it was a chance, but it wasn't like close. So Stefan Nason, he's got the puck here. Panik, for some reason, decides a good idea to throw it through his leg. Bull strategy, Cotton. But nice shot from Joey Keane and who's that? Podorowski on the doorstep, and he tries to stuff it, but Dustin Wolf, and they got for some reason they got the lights going, but
I don't really know what inspired that, to be honest with you. Looking at these replays, it doesn't really look like the puck was even ever in the crease.
It kind of came close there, but Wolf's swimming, he's right on top of it, and there's not really. I would even say like a grade A chance. I would give that a solid grade B chance, but Podorowski doesn't handle it cleanly, and it's not a solid look to the net. Call it as it is. I don't know what the Kevin Hart bumping there for a minute. But okay, so Stockton is just that was a nice little forecheck there. He's still down. Who's that? Panik with the hit. I mean, he's a little started like is that Walensky down? Oh, that could be. I mean, he's a tough player. I think he'll be okay, but Stockton, they've had the right game plan the last couple of games to really just kind of to slow the Wolves down on the attack, especially through the neutral zone, And again,
let me ask you this: does the home ice advantage really change things in Stockton?
100%. If you watch those games, I always wondered. I was like, Stockton's really good on home ice. And again, you get the beat bias and everything, whatever. That is an awful sheet of ice there in Stockton, California, and they should be embarrassed that you're a step below the NHL and you're providing that level of condition for your ice surface. It is awful. That is on par with my men's league game down the road right there where you're coming off after the Zamboni's done and the puck is sticking to the ice. I mean, to be fair, get it. I'm, the Chicago Wolves writer, and I lean towards that. But every other team, Milwaukee doesn't have that issue. Rockford didn't have that issue. I've seen 30 other sheets of ice in this league that don't have that issue. And I get it was a hot weekend. You're battling triple-digit temperatures. But you know what? So is Chicago right now. They're going through a heat wave. Do you see the ice that bad? I don't see it. And
it's California in June. Like that's it's been a problem.
I get it. But when the Kings were running through the cup back in the mid part of the last decade, did you really notice the ice that bad? Were you seeing it's an NHL surface, it's a little different, but were you seeing the puck sticking to the ice? Were you seeing guys skating past the puck and just it's just gonna bounce over my stick? Oh well, this is again the step below the NHL. This is the the premier developmental league in the world. That's not acceptable. And hey, Stockton fans, if you're wondering why you're not going to have a team next year in this league, well, that's probably a big issue. If you're looking at how Calgary wants to develop their players, well, maybe it would help if they're not tripping over holes in the ice every other shift. Just saying.
Big if true.
I had to get that
Big
off
if
my
true.
chest because that was like I'm watching it, and again, you gotta. Whew, that was bad. That was really bad.
I think I need the Wolves to score a goal for you.
Yeah,
I think.
well, wait till Stockton scores. Then we'll
But
see.
it's not uncommon. I think that the NHL has kind of figured that out in a sense because there's a lot of questions brought up in Dallas in '99 where they kind of had the same issues where it was kind of triple digit temperatures. And I think Gary Bettman was kind of forced to make sure that there's something in place so they can actually play hockey in warm temperatures.
Okay. I mean, yeah, and especially at the NHL level, it's a little different. Obviously you want top quality, and it's certainly changed over the last 25 years,
Right.
when but you figure that the AHL 25 years after that debacle in Dallas, I'll say, just for the sake of alliteration, that they might have, followed it up at that point. But I think, Stockton originally was, a rink fitted for a team in the coast. And you get your money's worth, and it was kind of more of in line with that third level in pro hockey. And I'm not saying anything bad about the coast at any sense, but right, in triple digit temperatures, you're really fighting for it. And
I just don't think that they have the equipment. I don't want to say that they didn't expect it, but like the other side of it too is, how often do they actually keep the ice on in triple digit temperatures?
not
Right?
nearly so much. And I think that was an issue. I mean, we saw it in the Colorado series where Stockton actually, being the number one seed in their division, opted for only 2 games at home and then 3 games in Colorado. I think part of it was a scheduling conflict with the arena. But at the same time, I think they kind of wanted that better ice sheet that might have been provided over there in Loveland, Colorado versus what they were giving their own players. And it kind of makes sense the more I'm trying to understand it. And I know this is a lot of like, we're going on like 5-8 minutes of just straight dogging on the ice crew in Stockton. And I understand they're probably trying their best with what they've got. And it is what it is. And there's a chance. Woo! Oh boy, Coach Chekhov with the glove. Wow, that was huge.
So to your point, Andrew, in St. John's, they went to the Calder Cup Finals in 2014.
Yeah.
You also had, so at that time, that arena was hosting men's league. They were hosting family skates like 4 times a week. And they were hosting skating lessons and then all of the other stuff on top of the AHL season and finals. So when you go from October to say July, June, without it being taken up, I think like the ice was just maggoty by the end. And there was people telling me like this ice is like a pothole. It's like a crater out there. So I think that's kind of what Stockton's seeing, where I'm sure they're using that ice for other stuff too. And I think that's kind of having a big factor in it.
It's an issue, but it's not like Chicago or any of these other rinks are
Wouldn't have
just
the same issue.
Yeah, and there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just so many levels of worse. And it's tough to I want to defend them. I want to say, you're battling the elements, you're battling a tough schedule, and okay, what do we got going on here? A little bit of pressure on the PK. I like it. Because Chicago's back on the penalty kill. Because why not? Why not at this point? Yeah, we're 11. We got 11 minutes and 30 seconds left in the period. Still 0-0 game. Okay. All right. Oh boy, Kochetkov's stretching the pad out there. It's tough. It's tough, and I vented my frustrations out there a bit because, like I said, it's kind of like watching a beer league game. But now we're here. We're back in Chicago. There's no excuses, right? You have what appears to be a better sheet of ice. I've been watching the better part of 9 minutes of this second period. It's looked better. I think there's been a bit of a better flow to the game. Both teams look like they're a little more in sync, at least for Chicago, when they're not shorthanded. Would you imagine that this team not playing shorthanded? Would they just take another penalty there? I'm kind of muted on the audio, so I wouldn't be surprised. Could you tell that I'm frustrated with Chicago's penalty taking habit that they've gotten into lately? Yeah.
It would appear, yeah. But I mean, like, Kochetkov has been big so far, like been their best penalty killer without a doubt. Obviously he wasn't getting tested much in the second period until Stockton's power play opportunity here, which is starting to sunset a little bit on this power play. But
yeah, Stockton's power play has really only hit at one point, and it might have been at the biggest point of the series when they scored in overtime in Game 4. And for Chicago, I mean, their penalty killing has been absolutely just impeccable. Between, your forwards up front with Jack Drury, Spencer Smallman, and on defense, I think Max Lajoie has probably been the most impactful player for the Chicago Wolves team, who especially has not been getting the recognition that I think he rightfully deserves. This guy on the penalty kill blocks more shots and gets more timely clears than name a player. And I'll tell you that, Max Lajoie has probably been just a bigger rock on that blue line than you could possibly name.
I think he's one of the most underrated defensemen in the playoffs right now.
I think he really is. I was really shocked this past offseason when Carolina decided to go out and get like Brendan Smith and Ian Cole. I get you want some vets, but I think they kind of overloaded a little bit on your, seventh D-man in free agency, and it forced a guy like Lajoie down here in Chicago. And unfortunately, he's never really gotten his shot to really shine, and I've really kind of been super disappointed for him because I don't think Lajoie is going to be a guy who's going to come out number one for an NHL team. But if you want to throw a guy on your third defensive pairing who can come out there in penalty kills and be that rock, a guy who's going to stand in there against a slap shot from an NHL caliber player, he's not going to flinch. He's not going to turn that down, and he'll, he might sting a bit, but he's a guy who's just all heart, who's going to fight on the boards and get the puck out. He's done it just routinely, consistently, game in, shift out. It's been wonderful to watch, and I don't want to say Carolina's kind of just burying him here, but what does Brendan Smith give you that Max Lajoie doesn't? You know what I'm saying? I get you want organizational depth and you want that veteran presence, but that wasn't long ago that Brendan Smith was cast aside by the New York Rangers into the abyss of the, I believe, Connecticut Whale at the time, maybe the Hartford Wolfpack. But he wasn't like this super hot commodity, and you got a young player out here who's just laying himself out there for the chance to really make an impact, and why not give him that shot? I thought, Carolina gave him a look in the playoffs, wasn't meant to be, and here he is fighting again. And not only that, but I mean, Joey Keane's really emerged. Jesper Sellgren's been unbelievable in this postseason. Jalen Chatfield was another guy that they brought in kind of as a wild card. He was cast aside there in Vancouver a bit. I don't think he was the right system fit, but man, can this guy play. And you've seen Lajoie kind of, again, take a back seat to some of these guys. Joey Keane wows you with his skating. Jalen Chatfield has been phenomenal at both ends. And you forget about a guy like Lajoie. But when your team can't stop taking penalties like this, he's the guy who's really kind of held them in there. And it's a 0-0 game now. They were able to go into overtime the last 2 games, weren't able to come away with it. But without Lajoie kind of backstopping your penalty kill, not only are you going in there kind of like, oh, we've dropped a couple games, but maybe you get a couple power play goals against, and that 3-2 game becomes a 5-2 game, and you're coming here thinking, oh my God, what are we doing wrong? What's going on with our game? And I want to give the guy the props that I think he rightfully deserves, because, with so much depth on this team, it can kind of be drawn off the wayside, because he does so much that doesn't appear on a score sheet. And, analytically, he might be up there, but for an old guy like me, I'm still kind of trying to understand what all these fancy numbers and analytics mean. So I just want to give the guy the props that he deserves. He's really been, for a sticking point, for as much ice time as he's been getting, because his team can't stop taking penalties. I'm just a little unhinged. It's okay.
I think the Wolves are taking penalties. Zach, what do you think?
That's what I'm thinking. But we've had like a couple of good sequences of events. And even so, right, I think when they're on even strength, you see a whole new Chicago is my early – that's what I'm kind of seeing from the first 2 periods at least, is there's 2 totally different teams.
Well, and I'll be interested to see if they continue to find the rhythm here after killing off that latest penalty. It felt like they really couldn't find the rhythm in the first, because they constantly found themselves in the box, and it seemed like there in the second, obviously, you start the first 10 minutes of the second, you're playing 5-on-5. You actually get a couple of really good chances yourself, and it seemed like they really started to pick up some momentum, and then all of that's killed again by the 5th penalty of the night. And so I'm interested to see if, now that things are starting to settle down a little bit more, I'm interested to see if Chicago can maybe, after a really crushing hit there on the blue line, but I'm interested to see if Chicago can find more of their rhythm. And I mean, what's been interesting in this whole series in some regard, and even throughout the playoffs, has been kind of like, I don't want to say the disappearance, because one of the players I'm going to mention is Andrew Podorowski, who is still averaging over a point per game, but we've just come to expect so much out of the guy that for some reason feels like it just feels like not impressive enough. But the real player I want to talk about as being kind of shut down has been Jacob Pelletier. He has been kind of like shut out. Well, that's a little dramatic. He's got 4-3-7 in 12 games in the Calder Cup playoffs. I mean, this is a guy that if Stockton wants to win this game and the next, like, he's got to find his stride. It kind of feels like it's a little bit of a storyline of the playoffs, is that some of these really key rookies have kind of lost their footing in the playoffs this offseason.
Yeah, I said earlier in my recap that, if you keep putting yourself on the penalty kill like that, you're just giving a guy like Pelletier the room to kind of find his game, instead of doing what the Wolves have been doing these first couple of games of the series, which has just been choking out the big guns, which are Phillips and Pelletier of this team, who are, I mean, you can just watch them create chances just on their sheer talent alone, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And for Chicago to kind of clamp down on them and own in on not giving them that space to create, it's been awesome. But the more you put yourself down a man, the more you open that door just a little bit. And Pelletier scored a goal to put Stockton ahead 2-1 in game 5, and that was his first point of the series in game 5. Like, you should be thankful that it's only been that one single goal, because this is a team that's full of talent that can create chances up and down the ice, and you're just letting them hang around. And I don't want to say that they're letting them hang around, because Stockton, despite being up 3-0, I mean, these are 2 teams that are just so evenly matched, and just so many similarities between the 2 of them and how they play, different styles, but just so much talent up and down the lineup. You can't open that window for them, and
No.
Chicago is just taking the worst part about, it's one thing to lose a couple games there in overtime, but the worst part about it is that I think it's more the Wolves kind of taking themselves out of their rhythm, out of their game, and Stockton capitalizing on that, and they're a team that you can't mess around with because, well, now you're here,
Yeah, and I mean, there is a grand total of one member of the Stockton Heat that's in the top 20 in playoff scoring, and that is Justin Kirkland. So not I don't think what anybody had in mind when we thought about scoring for the
Jacobs, Heat. David Goss with the patience. Oh, what a save by Wolf. Oh, boy.
But I do feel like, I kind of mentioned it to start, but there's a clear difference in the quality of shots, I think, too. Right? Yeah. I think that what the Wolves are kind of doing great, and you kind of mentioned it before with your defense, is Stockton's kind of being boxed out a little bit so far, right? They're only being able to get those quality shots from the outside. The shots that they're getting on the inside aren't very good. And I think there's a stark difference between what we're seeing here and what we're seeing on the other side, where there's so much time and patience, right? We just seen it there on that last play where, like, there was a great opportunity in the slot. You don't see that on the other side because there's such a stark difference on the defense. Mm-hmm. And, the common phrase is, get them playing our game. And I think that's kind of what Chicago's doing in the offensive zone is they're playing their own game. They're playing the game that they want to play. And I think that the Stockton defense is kind of letting them do that in the early going.
They can do that because, Dustin Wolf has just been phenomenal.
Yeah.
From beginning to end in this one. I think game 3 was probably his worst game of the series. I think he had, something like maybe 19 or 20 shots against, and he gave up 2 goals. And it's not a terrible stat line, but when that's like your worst game of the series, and it's like, oh, not on, So he's responded just perfectly since then. And it's been a big storyline to this series is that it's not that Chicago's goaltenders have necessarily played bad, but there's been a couple games where they've just given some absolute freebies to Stockton, and it's a team that takes advantage. You come out to decide to play the puck, and Stockton's forecheckers are on you, and boom, they put it in the open net. You think you're going to play the puck, and it's outside the trapezoid, so you got to come in. They throw a wild shot, it bounces off your pad, and it goes in. A 1-on-3 situation, they just throw the puck on net because that's just their philosophy is it's never a bad play to put a shot on net. Well, it bounces off your blocker, flies over your head, and goes in. And Alex Lyon got really lucky there last in game 5 with a couple of chances of some of that just, those weird bounces off that Stockton ice because why not? And he had to come back and make some ridiculous saves, and one that really should have been called for throwing his stick at the Stockton forward. I would have done the same thing. It's the playoffs, but they're if you're a goaltender, what's the line? 10 the goal. And and Chicago's, their goalies love to play the puck in Chicago, which is great. But it's bitten them so more often than not in this series. And I hope that coach just kind of tells them to stay in the crease. Well, I'm sure he told them to stay out of the box, and that message is really resonating with them, at least so far in this game. But they've been really handicapping Stockton, and it hasn't really bit them so much. But I don't want it to, because that's going to be a moment that's going to break my heart. And I'm not going to be ready for it.
Don't let Mike Smith be the example for out of 10 goal.
He
no doubt.
Yeah, hanging out the trapezoid is no fun.
Right. Coach should just play Smitty over and over on a loop for these goalies and just be like, do you want that to be you? Do you really want that to be you? And we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, hopefully not, right?
Right.
Now, obviously, a peculiar situation like for the Wolves. I mean, you've had two goaltenders really play this postseason in Kochetkov and Alex Lyon. I mean, is this what you would have done in Game 6, Andrew? Would you have gone to Kochetkov or would you have thrown it to Lyon for this one, knowing that you might have a game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think in Game 7 you want your veteran goaltender who's been here before.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Game 5, Kochetkov he was shaky. He gave up a goal behind his net where the forecheckers just beat him to the puck and, wide open net. He wasn't very comfortable with his rebound control at all. And I think it was just a situation of a guy who was up in Carolina just riding the bench for weeks and not getting really into game action. And we got a 2-on-1 here. Big save, Kochetkov. And what I wanted Pyotr, like, if you're going to give him a game, give him this game where at least he's got the safety net, where if he doesn't play great, okay, at least you still got Game 7 where you can put a guy like Lyon in who's been here before, who's been around the league for years and years and years and knows what it takes to win at this level. I'm not saying Kochetkov doesn't, but I think, you give him that first game back in Game 6 with a home crowd, and I think, you kind of invoke his swagger a little bit. And that's been like the one term that I've really, liked about Kochetkov's game has just been his attitude and the way that he's been able to bounce back from some of these bad goals, from some of these bad games, and to really elevate. And I think Coach Warsofsky identifies that, and he knows, like, he can put his guy out there. And it's good to at least have that safety net. I don't think you wanted to throw a Kochetkov out there who might not have been 100% comfortable with his game in a must-win Game 7. You know what I'm saying? Lyon played great in Game 5, didn't come away with the win. It is what it is. But he's a guy, he has a shutout in this series. He's been playing phenomenal all playoff long. He's a guy that you can keep in your back pocket, and you can at least have one more chance to roll the dice, and hopefully the numbers all come up your way. In this one, we're 3 minutes left in the second period. Shots are 19 apiece. Again, you want to talk about just two evenly matched teams at 0-0 here. It's incredible to watch. And oh boy, that's a bad bounce. Okay, all right, get it out. Nothing bad happening.
It's a chess match, is what it is, and you're just waiting for that mistake, right? Once you make that one mistake, you go in behind the net. That's it.
Yep.
Feels like the kind of game that, like, could potentially open up, right? Like, it feels like this third period could be an absolute, like, it could be one of two things, right? Like, I don't know if there's a middle ground. I think it's either going to be a lot more of the same. It's going to be a lot of shutdown hockey. It's going to be a matchup between the goaltenders, or the final is going to be like 5-4, and our viewership will spike in that third period.
I think this might be a 2-1 game here. Honestly, I think it's all about who makes that first mistake. I mean, that's really what this whole series has been about. That's why, those Chicago goalies giving them those freebies, again, they haven't hurt as much. I mean, the first couple of games they were there. Oh boy.
Oh.
Podorowski right on the doorstep, and you can't just stuff it home. Wow. Okay, there's your grade A chance that you're looking for. Is this going to start opening up now, or is Stockton going to put the clamps down? Oh, wow. Nice forecheck.
Well, and it felt like that happened at the end of the first, too. It just felt like there was chance after chance for the Wolves as they ended the first period, and you were just, like, holding your breath, waiting for one to go in because of how much, I mean, we all say it's...
Oh, boy. Oh, he just couldn't find his stick on that one. Mm-hmm. Oh, the look was there.
That hockey cliche, right?
With Panik and Nason, they can create so much traffic in front of that net. And Nason's another guy who's kind of been quiet in this series, and a guy who's led the league in goals, and especially in that net front, he gets the rebounds, he gets the deflections, he creates so much chaos. So you figure that, that would be what you want to do in front of a guy like Wolf in order to kind of take away his eyes, get those second chance opportunities. Because Wolf's very rarely a guy that you're just going to, get a one and done and you're going to beat him on that one. You gotta wear him down. And Chicago's really kind of been working this offensive zone time here. Looks like Stockton's going to get a penalty with 13 seconds left in the period. And, Chicago's really found success on these extended zone times, especially on the power play when they've been able to strike, just wearing those defenders down and just putting shots on that, getting chances. And eventually, the guys are tired. Something's going to open up. Nice work by David Gust behind that to just keep the feet moving and to get a chance there. And yeah, that was a nice keep there by Jalen Chatfield. He's been excellent. I think Chatfield's probably been the best player for the Wolves this whole series on both ends of the ice. He's just been phenomenal.
That shot had a bit of mustard on it there.
Play. Looks like Stockton's going for one more chance. That's going wide, and that's it. Period's done. All right, Chicago's got 1:47 of power play time to start off the third. Oh, am I getting unhinged yet? I think so.
I think you were unhinged the moment that you stepped foot into the chat, my dude.
I hope. Yeah, no, if you couldn't tell, I just had to come in and start ranting about this team that's not able to, stay
it's all
disciplined.
good. I enjoy your unhinged commentary.
Good. I'm glad. I hope you're not the only one.
Hey, it's almost like you're on a podcast where you have to give your unfiltered opinion and you just shout it into the void. It's like we've gotten good at that as a group.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't prefer not to do it this way, but this team sometimes,
It happens to the best of us. But, obviously this game, huge implications. If the Wolves can find a way to do it, they're going on to the Calder Cup final. The Heat are obviously trying to stay alive, but want to pay a little bit of attention over to the East, where we've got a Game 7 for sure tomorrow night. We might have to do another one of these, like because all of the content's going to be old by then. Because what we release on Thursday, man, it's just the news cycle is not working for us right now in the midst of this playoffs. But yeah, I mean, what a matchup on Wednesday tomorrow between Springfield and Laval.
What a response from Laval. They drop a couple games at home, and it almost feels like it's their last hurrah going into that Game 6. But they find a way to just not just win, but to win in such a convincing fashion. And it was a bit of a gong show to kind of finish out there at the end. Or was that Game 5? I don't know. I'm all sorts of.
They kind of have that way though, right? Like I kind of look at their regular season play versus the playoffs. It's a good way to spike your heart because from the start they weren't all that great. They were okay, but things never really worked out, and then things hit their kind of low when they didn't really have any players whatsoever because of COVID and whatnot. And then things got good again, and it was the early part of the playoffs, and then we see this, and so. To me, they've sold me down the river because I kind of looked at this series and I'm thinking, Springfield is a really good opponent for these guys, but and trust me, they are. But the way that they are able to kind of come back into the series and claw their way back has been outstanding to me.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we talked about it on the show last week. We talked about the goaltending for Springfield. I mean, Laval's doing what they need to do with Caden Primo. Really, there wasn't any room for conversation there. But it just, I mean, obviously, it just quite a conundrum in Springfield. You have two really solid goaltenders, and in Game 6 they go with Joel Hofer, and now we'll see if they go back to Charlie Lindgren for Game 7. I think it's a flip of the coin, wouldn't you all?
And I think that the Colorado series kind of screwed everything up for them too, right? Like they had so much faith in their goaltender, and then it's like, okay, well now we're losing Lindgren, and but let's not forget the goaltending has been pretty good. Like let's not harp too much on that, but I mean on the other side, there's so many questions to be had, and Game 7, I don't know, right? Like I do think that goaltenders also learn their lesson too. I think that's another side that, you have a bad game and it's how you bounce back, right? That's with any hockey player in any position. It's how you bounce back. You learn from your mistakes. 7 games is a long series and it gives a lot of learning time.
I've loved seeing kind of Caden Primo's emergence this whole playoffs, and I was really, really worried for Laval during this stretch of 3 games in 4 days. I was expecting Springfield to kind of lean on their duo, and they did, because you don't want to wear one guy out or the other. It's kind of a mirror of what we're seeing over in this series in the Western Conference, because you expect, like I said, you roll the dice with Kochetkov in Game 6 if you're Chicago, and then you had a back-to-back over this past weekend. You got another back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday. So you give one goalie a start in each game and see who kind of comes away with the one win that you need. Versus Stockton, where it's like, yeah, we got our guy, and you roll with that guy, and he's the horse you rode in on. He's your ride or die. And, Dustin Wolf has risen to the task, and he's shown why he was named the best goalie of the league this year. He's been nothing short of phenomenal this series, of this whole playoff. So it's interesting seeing that parallel over here on the same side in the East, where, you have Springfield, where it's like, well, we can really roll with either guy. We're comfortable with that, where Laval's like, all right, well, if Poulin comes in, we're kind of boned. And Primo's just been that guy who's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if he's going to play, 5 games in 6 days. He's going to come out there. He's going to be their guy. And not only that, but Laval's responded spectacularly in front of him. If he's not having the best game, they know how to turn it on and to sell it all out for the guy in that. So it's really a coin flip. I was leaning towards Springfield because, they have your James Neals, your, Luke Witkowski's. They have all of this spectacular veteran leadership playing huge roles for them that know how to win it, not only at this level, but the level above. But Laval they've not just hung around, but they've really managed to kind of wrestle control when they've needed to. And on the road to come in and force a Game 7, that's huge. That's really just it's massive. I thought that Laval kind of had the advantage on the road, and I thought they have one of the crazier home barns in this league. And to lose 2 of their 3 games, I thought that was a backbreaker. I thought they were done. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, that's it,
Is there something to be said, though, about like spacing out some of these playoff games? I get that there's scheduling constraints and whatnot, but how hard is it to space a day in between each series? It's almost like there's each game, like it's almost like there's a rush to get this finished for some reason.
Well, and I look at like when you talk about like the NHL playoffs, I want to say that Tampa and Florida might have played a back-to-back game. And I want to say they might have been the only series in the entirety of the NHL playoffs to do just that. And there was like some serious outrage from folks who follow the sport about like, why would we do this? Why would we do this? And here in the AHL, we're over here like, oh yeah, like 3 and 4, like back-to-back games, yeah. Like back-to-back games, not only back-to-back games, Game 6 and 7 potentially here in the Western Conference. It's like, what is this madness? I mean, to put like a Game 7 on the back end of a back-to-back, it just feels kind of asinine.
And we can't even blame it on a Justin Bieber concert like the Rangers could. So it's kind of wild. Yeah. And I can understand, like, they played game 5 on Saturday. Game 6 is here on Tuesday. Well, you're traveling from the West Coast to Illinois. It's a little different. I suppose geographically, Laval and Springfield are a little closer to one another. But then, going again and forcing them to play a back-to-back if necessary, it's tough. But I've asked players on coaches on both of my beats from Grand Rapids and Chicago, and they understand the assignment. They know what they're getting into, and both teams are expected to play under the same circumstances. So it's tough. It's a grind, but that's part of the sport too. So it's whoever can adapt, whoever can, take advantage, whoever can stay conditioned better. It's these guys are professional hockey players. This is what they're here for. And they probably love the challenge of, they don't want to wait around a day. They want to get back into it. They would play, back to back. They would play a double header on a day if they would prefer it. Probably not, maybe, but I don't know. I'd have to go into and ask them if they would prefer like a 1 o'clock and then a 7 o'clock instead.
Could you imagine having a ticket to that and just like being able to stick around for the entire day at the barn?
Yeah. Right. Why should baseball be the only sport that does that? We should encourage that. Can you imagine how much fun that would be? Like, oh, hey, Dustin Wolf, you're about to play 120 minutes of hockey in 24 hours. Less than 4 hours, like 8 hours.
Yeah, because you don't have not the same luxury because absolutely Dustin Wolf gets to start game 7 if the series goes to 7. Without a doubt, right? And so you don't have the luxury at Stockton that you do in Chicago where you can lean on a guy who maybe got rest the night before. You're gonna have to start Dustin Wolf because he's really the only answer you have.
He's your ride or die. That's what I said earlier. I don't even know who I don't even know what the other option would be. Okay, your other option would be Adam Werner from played 21 games, went 12, 6-2. Okay, not terrible, but he's not Wolfie, So
I will say, how wild will it be if a player whose last name is Wolf finds a way to steal a series from the Chicago Wolves?
Don't.
There are two things that are true, and I have to give you credit for both of these things. And it is one that last week, I believe it was last week's episode when we were discussing the series. I believe the Wolves were up 2-0 when we discussed the series for the show. And I think that you said you could see Chicago winning game 3 and this series still going 7.
Yes.
My friend, you might end up being right. And I know that is the worst news you have ever heard.
I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. I love being wrong, and that's where I would love being wrong. I legitimately, I hate having takes that are right. I will legitimately give off bad takes for them to manifest incorrectly for that specific reason. I picked the Maple Leafs to beat Toronto because oh my God. I beat the.
Well, they did do that.
I picked the Maple. Well, that's kind of what they do anyway. But I picked the Maple Leafs to beat Tampa Bay simply because of the fact that it would be my nightmare scenario to have to actually be on the internet for the event of a Maple Leafs series win, and I didn't want to see that. So I was like, well, okay, if I'm gonna have to live through that nightmare scenario, at least maybe I could win some money off of it or something. Spoiler alert: I didn't win any money. But my sanity is intact, so
I was gonna say it feels like maybe it was
sorry to all of our listeners in Southern Ontario.
Well, Dina Weinheimer just messaged into our little group chat, and so she says that first goal wins. I don't think she's far off of that either.
No,
that's what I'm slowly starting to learn, that next goal wins, right?
I mean, your shots after 2 periods are 21-19. There's not, despite the 8 power plays for both sides, there's not a lot of offense going on. And whatever offense is there, you got 2 absolute world-class goaltenders. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly goal, a shot from the point that bounces off a shin and decides to slip through someone's 5-hole. And I swear to God, if I manifest this, I'm not even going to watch Game 7. If it goes through, go check off like that. Like, I'm just going to, I'm just not going to watch. I have to because it's my job, and our followers rely on me for that. Like,
hey, you do pretty
I hate
good.
it. I hate it sometimes.
You do good.
No, I don't. I love you all. I hope and all of you who are listening, you realize how incredible that you all are. You literally keep me going, but I hate it. I don't hate it. I don't. I'm making a joke. So, I mean, what's our predictions for this third coming up here?
Next goal wins.
I mean, it feels like it might be a 1-0 game. Like, it feels like that's a very real possibility.
No, it'll be 2-0 because there'll be an empty net and it'll be like a 200-foot goal, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the Wolves are going to pull it off.
Oh, you want me to pick who wins? Oh, I'm not going to do that. No.
No.
Thank you, Zach, for either way.
All right, hey, no,
either way right, you pick it. Thank you.
Swipe right or swipe left. The Wolves win.
No. Close the app. Close the app. Close the app right now.
Are you sure you want me to? Is this the consensus that everybody wants me to pick?
No.
I'm personally Team Chaos, so I'm pro Zach's.
Chicago.
And Andrew's done. And Andrew's out.
I was hoping that you guys would at least be supportive of my mental health on this evening, but I appreciate you're just like, oh, we'll just throw them in the meat grinder and see what happens for tomorrow night.
I picked Team Canada to win the Olympics, and
I mean, I picked Team USA, so
well, it was kind of a reverse pick, so I was right.
I was wrong. I was very wrong.
I also remember being wrong for that one, but I don't know. I just like Chicago having outshot Stockton 15-5 in the second period. I mean, I do feel like Chicago, like, albeit kind of truncated by a couple of, special teams opportunities for both squads. Like, I feel like Chicago has controlled the pace of the game since the first period. It's just a matter of solving Dustin Wolf.
But it's one power play that can make the difference of this game, especially when we talk about.
They do got 1 minute and 40 on the power play to start off the third. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 minute 47.
They are coming back, folks. They will come back eventually in the second intermission.
At some point.
The tensions are just too high.
Okay. Correct. Yeah, they do have to return to the ice at some point because could you imagine us having to sit in suspense any longer on this series? Could you imagine Andrew having to sit in suspense on this series any longer?
Right. Yeah. How am I supposed to cover the game if there's just like the heat or the feed just dies? Then I just say like, well, I guess whatever team decided to just pull it out at the end.
I'm happy that everybody had fun.
I'm looking at that replay where the lights went off a little early, and Podorowski did get a stick on that rebound, and I mean, Wolf just had his pad stretched out, and then there's that chance by Matheos that Gus set up. I mean, quality chances, and Wolf's just playing out of his mind at the moment. And then you had this 2-on-1 with Peterson and who's 47, Connor Zary, and Kochekov coming laterally right to left just swallows it up. So where's it going to break? And I hope that Kochekov doesn't try to play the puck and has one of those bounces and gets one of those freebies away to Stockton. Just not like that. If it's a nice set play where it's like the puck moves and he just snipes one on him, I'll take that. don't give me some kind of, I already manifested it, but some kind of garbage shot coming from the point that bounces off someone. Oh, that's how this game's going to end, isn't it?
Yeah, I do have my mouse over your mute mic button in case that does happen, so that way we don't get in trouble.
Oh, yeah, we don't get shadow banned for all of the obscenities that I'm about to scream into the computer. I'm not that kind of, what kind of monster do you think I am?
Never that kind of a monster. But it looks like we're getting ready.
Well, you're not as smart as I took you for then.
Well, it looks like we're getting ready to drop the puck on the third, y'all. It's more talking about it. It's about to happen. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my God, it's gonna happen.
And it's happening. And it's happening as we speak.
Well, I see an interesting sign, and it said play like a game 7, so there won't be a game 7. Probably a good omen for this third period, because you know, this very well could be the 11th hour of this series, and they really and that's the big thing.
I love that sign. The legs feed the wolf.
Yeah,
I'm the kind of guy who, anytime you pull up Miracle, I'm just like, oh, you know. I mean, it came out during my formative years. I watched it about 1 billion times, so.
Understandably so. And folks, the puck might have just dropped on Stockton's last period.
Don't say that. The puck is down for the third. And look at that. See, Stockton they get the puck. They know how to get the puck out, man down, and just like.
And that's what you said is true too, Jeremy, because they'll be in Calgary next season. This could be it.
This could be it. And if it's not, then they'll return to that wonderful ice service in Stockton that Andrew's such a big fan of.
Oh, I hate it. It's like, I hate it so much. And again,
right, a little bit of a chance here, maybe. No, not quite. I mean, you are absolutely
right. You got to
right,
keep that in. Oh, that's not a good look.
That's tough. But their ability to be patient with the puck, I mean, they don't force anything. Like, they don't ever seem like a team to me. In all of the games of theirs that I've watched this season and the games that I've watched this postseason, they have never been a team that tries to force something.
They force entries, which is very annoying. Like when Stockton does what you just saw there, where they just clog that blue line up, put it over their heads, dump it in, get someone skating down the boards and get after it. I hate that they just try and skate through them. And it's like right there, you just try and skate through the guy. And like, okay, you got possession now, but look, Stockton can recover and the puck's out. Get them turning around. Get the puck behind them. You got to change it up, man. Do something different. That's all I'm asking for.
I appreciate the way.
Oh, big look there for Panique. Oh, but again, Dustin Wolf, stretches that pad out, and he's just been remarkable. I just want to say I want to send a heartfelt thank you to the Bakersfield Condors that I only had to watch 3 games on that ice because their win in the last game and the last day of the regular season allowed Chicago to grab that number 1 seed and thus have home ice. And it's standing very, very big right about now. So,
hey, that's what the assumption that Stockton wouldn't have chosen to be the road team.
They probably would have, but it's the fact that it wasn't their choice makes me feel a little bit better about it.
In an alternate universe, Henderson and Bakersfield are duking it out right now in the Western Finals.
Can you imagine what that would look like?
I can't actually.
An incredible feat. The series you'll never believe.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, as soon as I say Chicago hasn't forced anything all night, it feels like they just decided
they've just been forcing things. Yeah. Wasn't it? Nice little turnover at your blue line. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, big save. I don't even know if that was that just went wide, but that was a big play. What are you doing? Oh, that way to go. Kochetkov on that one. bailing his team out for there's another turnover in their own zone. Like what's there's no need for that. You're not getting.
I almost feel like they need a
crazy
stoppage
pressure
here.
on you.
They need a stoppage in a big way because I mean Matthew Phillips kind of made the Wolves defense look silly there. That's pretty.
Yeah, he made the initial move, but oh boy, yes, there you go. You know,
That could have been
stoppage.
dangerous.
Calm it down. What are you guys doing? No, Matthew Phillips with the beautiful little toe drag there, but then I feel like he kind of just made one too many moves, or like I think he trying to go 5-hole.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
he had the goaltender open though. That's what gets
but
me.
he totally missed if he was
Yeah,
trying
he
to go
did.
between the legs. Like I wasn't even close. He went to his toe. Like what was that? I don't know. But you know, what do I know? I play beer league on Wednesdays.
All I know is that seeing that the alternate A that Phillips wears, it being in the Atlanta Flames font, I have to say that I am just very excited for them to become the Alberta Flames next year.
That would be, or the Alberta Heat or whatever. And
yes, the Alberta Heat. Yep.
That would be fantastic. I mean, you saw in Abbotsford, you know, they kind of went with an alternate logo that the Canucks used, and oh boy, that was tough. Okay, well, someone on Stockton decided to just throw all their gear onto the ice. I'm not sure if he got clipped with a stick there or what.
It's a bold strategy.
Yeah, no, I commend him for it, but the refs went like, all right, we already gave Chicago like 8 penalties. You're gonna have to just eat this one, which is tough, especially when you eat a stick. But you know, hey, playoff hockey. But yeah, I think what I was saying with Abbotsford, you know, they took the alternate logo for the Canucks there with the little running lumberjack, and it turned it into just a very aesthetically pleasing logo and jersey and everything. So, all right, they're playing the replay here. Again, a nice little turnover, you know, and I think. Was that Pelletier trying to go far side there with Kochekov with the pad save?
I often worry about some of these turnovers too. Like at
hurting.
what cost?
They're hurting, and you know, this team, they've been playing with fire with this Heat team, and they're gonna get burned. And they've been burned the last couple games, so. You know, obviously Stockton's a very, very talented team, but it's not like the Wolves aren't. But a lot of these mistakes you're just seeing are very much of their own doing. You know, those turnovers weren't necessarily created by a hard forecheck. They were created just by poor judgment coming off the boards. You know.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was looking to see if we got turnovers in the game center for AHL TV, but it doesn't look like we do. Because I'd be curious to know just how many turnovers the Wolves have tonight, because it does, especially here in this third period. It just feels like they've been turnover central.
Yeah, I mean, there's another one in the offensive zone that's going the other way. Luckily, good recovery by the defense, but just this team just not taking care of pucks the way that we're used to seeing them. And it's going to take plays like that, like Vet and Josh Levo. Just cross the blue line and take a shot, okay? I know it's greasy. I know it's gross. I know it's not pretty. But you know what? It's the playoffs and it's Dustin Wolf. You're not going to get those glorious, glamorous opportunities. So you throw it on net, you get an offensive face-off. That's not a bad play, man. You got to think the bigger picture and you know, take it shift by shift. You're not going to win the game with one shift. And I think both of these teams have really shown it because, you know, whoever gets some of those early goals have been countered by the other side. It's not like, you know, Chicago scores early and then they just take over. It's been back and forth so often, and you just got to take every little inch that the other team's going to give you, even if that means a bad shot from the blue line. If that's your best play, that's your best play. You got to just take it, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, Yeah, I just feel like the neutral zone has been the messiest it's been so far in this game in this period.
It's a
All
minefield.
that coupled with the fact that, like you said, Andrew, I mean, like Ugly has won Stockton a handful of games in this series. So
Yeah.
Ugly is what both of these teams need to lean into to find a way here in Game 6.
Yeah. Ooh, big hit.
I just hate to see this game being finalized with a turnover. That would
Yeah.
be, you know,
Yeah,
Oh,
without a doubt.
you'd rather see an ugly bounce coming in off the point and bouncing off someone's shin pad and going in? Because that's how it's going to end, let me tell you.
You're mirror balling this like none other. You are like,
I'm pondering my orb. You know, the Palantir is a dangerous thing because not all of the seeing eyes have been accounted for. You don't know what I've looked into.
I'm wondering, okay, I need you to get that magic orb out again. Are you ready?
What is the answer that you seek? I guarantee.
Are we going to get free hockey out of this game? Are we going to
No, I don't want. I can't do another overtime game, man. I can't do it.
This series has done something to you.
Swami says no. Swami says no.
Swami says no. So I feel like this is one of Zach's predictions that's not going to get. I don't even know if it would be a jinx to send it to overtime or a jinx not to send it to overtime. Like it's so hard to predict now at this point.
But again, it's like a chess match, and you're just waiting for your opponent to make the wrong move, and that's what's going to end this game is a wrong move. I don't know if it's going to be a bounce. I don't. I think it's going to be just a plain and simple. Like they're showing replays of all of Chicago's turnovers.
Right.
The fact that they have a replay montage of this stuff is beyond me.
And they're like all leading to pretty solid chances for Stockton too. Like that's the other piece of it. And again, Kochetkov is like, not to say that Wolf hasn't also been outstanding, but I mean like some really outstanding saves, specifically here in the third.
This is going to be just a tough 13 minutes for your boy.
I know, Andrew. Do you need to drink some water, buddy?
Probably. I probably should have taken a minute during that media timeout, but hey, guess what? There's a face-off happening.
This is your certified water
break. I have to wait for the next one.
Yeah, go outside and take a breath of some of that really muggy, thick Metro Detroit air.
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, today wasn't that bad for us. I know it was bad more in Illinois and other parts of the Midwest, but actually it was a nice, calm little, maybe low 80s today. Not terrible, but tomorrow get into the triple digits. And that's where it's going to suck because I'm also supposed to play golf tomorrow. So I would be really appreciative if there wasn't a Game 7 tonight. So I can focus all of my energy on just sweating profusely at the golf course.
That's fair.
I would prefer to take the Heat that way than take the Heat in a Game 7. And oh boy, bro, that's not good. All right, nice recovery there by Jacobs. Close the gap. All right, puck's bouncing around a bit. Chicago's got to get it out, and there's an out. Okay. So that stick doesn't really hurt them so much. I mean, it not great, not ideal, but there you go. Good recovery. See what I mean? Like Chatfield and Lajoie has been such a good pairing for this team defensively.
Yeah.
Oh, Podorowski's had a couple looks this series where he has the wraparounds. Was that Podorowski? I can't.
That was Podorowski.
Okay. Where he gets Wolf to bite on some of these looks, and he comes to wrap around, but he can't find those openings on the other end of the post. He either tries to feed it out front, and Panik or Nason just aren't there, or he tries to beat Wolf to the post, and he just can't get it. Wolf's just too quick laterally. So, but I mean, the chances are certainly there. Oh, big
man.
Big save for Kukov.
All that starts by Kochetkov deciding to play the puck instead of hold on to it off of that
Oh,
Stockton
he
shot.
loves playing the puck, man.
Oh, there it
scores!
is. There it is.
Oh,
Chicago's on the
Reese
board.
in the corner creates the chance. Who's that on the finish? Ivan Ladnia. I love Ivan Ladnia. He's one of my favorite players on this team. Wow. That's fantastic. Wolves are up 1-0,
Wow.
11:25 to play in regulation.
Man, that was one outstanding play.
Look at the motor. Look at the motor by Reese, though, to really get this going. He attacks it in the corner. Who's that? Smallman. Spencer Smallman with the backhand feed. Wow, that was perfect. Oh, boy. Your boy's fired up. Could you tell?
I leave it to the Wolves to take a penalty in the next 2 minutes.
Don't do this to me.
It's a little cruel at this point. I do have to apologize. But yeah, like you said, the Wolves, they're up 1-0. The 27th shot is the magic one that finds its way behind Dustin Wolf. And Stockton, I mean, now the tides have turned, right? I mean, Stockton seemed to have a lot of control over play here in the third period and a breakout, a really solid entry, and now it's 1-0, and Stockton needs to gain control of the game again.
Oh, I'm fired up a little bit.
Understandably so. Yeah, I mean, and it's the beauty of it is, and I think it's kind of been the story in some ways for the Wolves in this postseason, is it's not one of your typical game breakers.
Oh,
It's not
turnover though. Look out! They're coming another way.
Oh man,
was
the
down.
Chekhov lost his footing there too.
Oh my God, they had a guy right at the net who's unmarked. Puck, the rebound just doesn't get to him. Coming the other way. Here we go, Chicago, and it's Ponomarev getting it down to. Let's see, we got Matthews. Is that Gunler?
I'm inspired by your
Gunler. Normally, Ladnia normally comes in for Gunler. They kind of go back and forth there, who's in, who's out. So I'm super curious seeing as to who might not be in the lineup, who normally is. Okay. So you normally have your top line of Podorowski, Nason, and Panik. Those are all there. Then you got Drury, Gust, and Levo. Those guys are all there. You got Smallman, Reese, and Ponomarev.
Let's look at the lineup.
Who am I missing? I should know who's missing, who might be there, or who might not be there, who should be there. But then you got Mattheos, you got Ladnia, and you got Reese. It's gonna burn me, and it's probably someone who's like super obvious, who I should know about. And it's like, but it for some reason it's escaping me. Anyway, bit of a different lineup look for Coach Warsofsky, because like I said, it's normally either Gunler or Ladnia. There hasn't been a lot of lineup shifts in this team for the duration of the playoffs. I'm guessing he saw something out of those last couple losses where he's like, we got to get the boys energized. And I'm really happy to see Ivan Ladnia kind of come in. He's a guy who's really just had a great motor. The coaching staff loves him. And it's been just a case of this team having so many good players and so much depth that it's tough to get everyone on the ice all at the same time. So for him to come in, look at that. I mean, he's just left all alone right up front and just absolutely buries that chance.
Yeah, watching that goal again, man, it is like a masterclass. I mean, he is hooked beyond belief. Like he is like he might have been hooked and
just finds ways to make plays. He's a guy who started off the season very, very tough. He started off on the injured reserve up in Carolina. He got hurt during training camp. And then he's a guy who had a great season last year. And coming off that injury, kind of down on the bottom six, just really kind of took a lot of time for him to kind of find his game. But, man, he, over the last probably month of the regular season and here into the playoffs, he's just found another gear. And I mean, scored that huge OT winner in game 1. And has just been just such an X factor for this team in their middle six. It's been wonderful to see such a talented young player with just that motor that never stops running and just creates these chances for everyone around him. Like Ivan Ladnia, as we saw there. I'm like really I'm taking a look at game 5's like roster to see who is missing that I might
I'm patiently and eagerly awaiting your realization of who you might be omitting here. And
it's CJ Smith. It's CJ Smith. How did I miss CJ Smith?
He watches too. Like he's an avid listener of the show.
Dude, yeah, right. I can't wait for the next player availability where I'm like, hey, can I talk to CJ Smith? And he comes up here and be like, hey, remember me? No, you don't, do you? And I'm like,
CJ Smith fan club.
I'm sorry, CJ. I try my best. It's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday.
You know, I cannot agree with you more. I agree wholeheartedly. And I will say, it is stoppage central right now in this one. It feels like every 5 seconds we've got a stoppage in play. So they are really just doing everything they can to prolong your suffering, my friend.
But
absolutely.
Looking at Stockton, I feel like they had the right strides going to score. I mean, the first 10 minutes of the third period were actually pretty solid for them. And I think that they had a lot of opportunities. Just cashing in on turnovers and just driving the play is really what's going to be the be-all, end-all in this. But I think that they got the recipe for success in their hands.
What Chicago's got to do right now is kind of what they've done a couple times in this series, and you know, a lot of times all season long, is they can't play conservative. They gotta drive the play into the Stockton end, because the best way to play defense is to keep the puck 200 feet away from your own net. And when they hold the puck for extended time in the offensive zone, well, Stockton's chasing around. They're tired. So even when they do get the puck, they're just dumping it in and hoping for a change. Chicago's got to keep back on. They got to keep the pressure. One goal, as we've learned, is not safe in this series, and they gotta be hungry for more. And it looks like they are. Here we go. David Gus down below the net. Here we go. Chicago setting up. They love those point-to-point passes. Get space opened up there. Get guys in front of the net. But again, Stockton's recovery is just so good. They know how to shut that stuff down and get it and get some space open. Oh, Matthew Phillips. Oh, I thought that was in. Oh, my God.
I don't think Kochetkov knew where that was. I mean, the way he looked kind of defeated there.
Oh, my God. 8 minutes to go. Chicago's got the puck in their own zone, getting the line change here. Oh, I hope you're ready.
You all are in for a treat these last
here.
I mean, that was really Chicago's first chance, though, since scoring that goal. I mean, Stockton has done exactly what Zach alluded to them doing in the first 10 minutes of this period. I mean, they found ways to keep the puck in Chicago's zone. And
one of our listeners is just calling me out that I need to be doing my homework here because I missed CJ Smith on the roster. So, oof. I guess we can already mark that one up for the oof of the week, and that's on me. I told you it was going to be obvious. I knew it. And yet, here we are. So, sorry, Taylor. I should have known.
But shout out to our listener here, and shout out to a fan of your work. I love that.
No, that's good, because they keep me accountable, because I can't just coast through the coverage of this team. It's not that easy. You gotta do your homework. You gotta know. I should have known. It's not like it was a fourth liner who gets 5 minutes a game. That's CJ Smith, man. Come on. Oh, I embarrassed myself. I know. Okay, we got 6:50 to go because this game's just taking forever.
Yeah, as I say, don't worry, Andrew. You'll be fresh, and the rest will be knocked off for Game 7.
My instinct was to just like punch my screen at that point until I realized that I definitely don't make enough money to buy another laptop. So,
Oh my, it's
next
all
time
love,
I
buddy.
go to a Griffins game, I know where you live.
You do. You do actually know where I live.
And so when I'm back here tomorrow night, well, I'm gonna show up on your doorstep.
I gotta ask,
Sounds
how's
good.
your hair? Do you still have any left?
My hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you kidding me, dude? My hair is my best feature. I keep this thing. I take care of my hair better than I take care of my mental health. Are you kidding me?
I was gonna say, because your stress level is through the roof right now, man.
You see how thick this mane is? My barber charges me double. I love my hair.
Oh, I take better care of my hair than my mental health on a shirt.
Well, as soon as the Daves start financing Holy Grail podcast shirts, that can be
that'll be one of them. It'll be Zach's hand holding a lighter, and it'll be that quote. And hold on, we got our first comment.
I do need Zach with the lighter on a shirt. That should actually be the first shirt. I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard.
I have no comment about me and lighters. Okay, I have none. Let's just hope that we're not going to celebrate anybody winning the Calder Cup this year, because I ain't lighting the cake.
Now hold on. Our newest managing editor is letting us know that we will get the FPH merch squad on it. So get excited.
We're working on it. Let's go.
Dina, we wish you were here. Dina Weinheimer, everybody, you know Dina.
Dina's the real MVP. She makes all of this stuff happen. None of this would be possible without her incredible work. So I just want to give a shout out right quick to that.
100%.
Before I devolve into any more
in Chicago than Ohioans with power right now. So that's just for a little bit of back context.
Yeah. There's a big old power surge in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio, that has a lot to do with making sure that folks don't get their power shut off. So they're shutting off people's power. It somehow makes sense. I don't know if I understand it, but what I do understand is that we are getting ready to draw the puck again after this break. We've got 5:47 left in the third, and it's do or die time for Stockton. It is do or die, both literally and figuratively, for the Stockton Heat right now.
Oh, my anxiety's through the roof. How are you doing, guys?
I'm pretty good. I'm all right.
I'm on the outside looking in, so everything is good.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, no, the Amerks broke my heart a while ago, and then, the Monsters,
they never gave you the opportunity to have your heart.
Right. Correct. But yeah, what a series this has been to this point too. Even now, still, these next 5 minutes and 47 seconds are going to be stellar hockey.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh no, you're right, and that's the thing that's got me just oh.
Hey, aren't you glad I didn't say the next 31 minutes and 13 seconds?
Don't finish that thought. Just just say aren't you glad I didn't say, and then you don't have to go in further because I know what you're gonna say. You don't gotta bring it into the air because that just starts bringing those bad vibes all along, and I don't need any of that in my life. I had enough of that on the golf course. You realize just what I put myself through earlier than that. I missed the whole first period just for me to shoot double bogey on every hole.
I was gonna ask, what'd you shoot today?
You don't 55 over 9 holes. That's bad. That's on route for 110. And I'm the kind of guy who's if I get 100, then that's great. Okay, here we go. Stuff Nason driving in that can't make it happen. This top line just they got the motor running, but they're not making some of these plays that they've made all year long. And credit to Stockton, they've shut them down. This line that's you got the number 1 point scorer in the middle. You got the number 1 goal scorer on your left side. On the right side is just a guy with 500 games of NHL experience in Richard Panik. And they
Ooh.
look at they
Oh.
oh my God, Dustin Wolf, big save. Oh, don't do this to me.
He's kind of good at hockey.
He's very good at stopping pucks. If in case we haven't talked about him enough, be it tonight or all season on the podcast.
Whoa.
I
He came pretty far.
Yeah, I like him like laying out for that one big big cover, 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go. But I also like Steph Nason just kind of like holding his hand out, just like, hey, dude, you need a hand up. But like, yeah, look at that. What a play by GrAHL defensively. And then Podorowski still gets that, but wow, what a save by Wolf. I mean, that's like a season-saving save. And oh, you can just tell, oh, Jacobs, oh, his heart's broken. And my heart's broken for him. That's another Metro Detroit product that's just playing a great level of hockey at when it's required most of him. And he's been awesome all year. Big crumble cookies guy. Me too, Josh. And
oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. The crumble work from the Wolves was good.
That might have been my favorite content of the season. Not Podorowski's 100 points, not Nason's almost like race to 50 goals. The crumble cookies was probably my favorite content of the season.
It was good. It was a really solid content from the Wolves PR team.
Oh, Wolves ice the puck. We got less than 4 minutes to go in this one. So, like, if you're Mitch Love, I think we've seen earlier in this series that he likes.
Here we go, 2-on-1 perhaps breaking out here. Hold up. Oh my God!
Big save, Wolf on Ponomarev. Wow. Oh.
Now the real question is, what do you think Coach Warsofsky said in that media timeout with about 5 minutes left in regard to not taking a penalty? Like, do you think that was some colorful language?
He said, keep colorful language. Have you heard Coach Warsofsky in the postgame speeches? Colorful language is all he does. Oh, Ponomarev didn't get all of that look on the backhand. I mean, who was that? That was Walker Dewar on the back check. Oh, man. Oh, no. Was that I saw a Stockton player go down. I don't see an arm up.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, man, I think we're good.
Oh, that looks like, don't do it now. Don't do it now. Okay. Well, we're good.
No, but you're absolutely right. That looked like it could have been a high stick. So
that
I'm glad.
Very well been a high stick. I mean, 35 shots and only one goal. And I mean, it took an absolute perfect feat. I was expecting that one goal to be an absolute just garbo shot going in. And little did I know, wow, nice work. Is that Potts on the forecheck? That is Potts creating that turnover there. I mean, they didn't end up getting it, but I'm telling you, if there's less than 3 minutes to go, those 5 seconds that you save on a breakout pass not going the right way, that'll take a couple ticks off that heart rate monitor.
No doubt. And speaking of, Dina is reminding you to breathe.
Yes, Dina, you're right. You're always she's always very right. I've never met an instance where that woman's wrong. So, but when you puck's out. I was gonna say when you turn it over at the blue line like that.
Wait, hold up. We've got another guest coming on. We've got none other than Corey Sword is here.
Coming in. Oh my God, we got some reinforcements in. Hi, Corey.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Oh, that's the loaded.
I was about to say. I just pulled the phone. I pulled the game up here. I'm watching on my phone here while I'm talking to you guys here.
Oh,
what a chance!
Oh, if y'all thought it was unhinged before, just wait until you've got 4 chefs in the kitchen here.
Don't. Oh.
Man. Well, Corey, I hope that you're
our follower here, Taylor. She says, I'm apparently too busy taking care of my hair to remember that CJ exists.
Wait, I like Taylor.
She's one of the many faithful Wolves fans that follows my work for some reason, and I appreciate her and everyone else who just interacts with me on the daily. it's wonderful. You know, I just want to say to her and anyone else who might be following, you guys are the reason that I do this. It's no matter how this playoff ends, it's been a wonderful ride for my first full season. Like last year was a thing, but doesn't really count. They played in a practice rink all year and there was no playoffs. I mean, maybe Corey covered a couple games because like each division had their own like weird Frankenstein of a playoff going on, but
we didn't have anything in the eastern side of everything, so there were no playoffs.
Was it just the Pacific that did it?
I think it was.
Okay, and then the whole AHL was like, hey, this is a great idea, let's do this for every division. And so like for most people who are confused is like, why is there like 28 teams in the playoffs? Well, blame
blame
how
COVID.
It was in the before times.
Blame COVID, right?
But hey, you know, I was just thinking about this earlier today. To go along to your point about last year, you know, having some meaning or not, it did for some teams. I mean, look at Laval; they were a couple of coin flips away from taking the regular season crown from Hershey, and sure enough, they battled back, and now here where they are.
Hey, look at the game center.
Oh boy! Scores! Was that Potts?
Oof.
Was that Potts?
Wow.
Oh, 1:20 left in the regulation. The Wolves are up 2-0 on the break.
I will say,
my captain.
The game center changed before it came up on my AHL TV app. So I was like, oh,
the game center is always faster than the stream is. I've had so many times where like, oh, the turnover in Potts. Oh, captain, my captain.
That's a really good play in the middle there, though. Who was that?
Who was that? Was that Chatfield that created that?
Man, I want a Podorowski and Hershey next year.
There.
Oh, I never want Podorowski to leave Chicago. I want him, even though he's like 40 strokes a better golfer than I am. I want to play golf with him.
Dina pointing out that the Holy Grail guests are coming in clutch once again.
Yes, they are, as always.
Podorowski, one of our first guests on the show. So another chance here. Yeah, it's 3-0 now.
What? I don't see. Was there an empty netter? Empty netter. Okay. All right. I was about to be like super hyped up that someone else was going to score, but
here it goes.
The Wolves are going to the finals. Josh Lipo with an empty netter.
The Chicago Wolves are Calder Cup finals bound, y'all.
Oh, look at Kochetkov. He's fired up. Lipo's fired up. Everyone's fired up. Let's go.
You got to give credit to Stockton, too, for a great series. I know that there's 44 seconds, but like this is a tough way to lose in the playoffs. I mean, that they went out against a very strong team, and they put up a good fight as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, in all honesty, the two teams that we spent all season talking about. We spent more time on these two teams, I think, than really most any other team, and it's wild to now be in a spot to call this series over.
I mean, this is it. 30 seconds down. I mean, unless something absolutely historic happens, I think it's safe to call this. And I mean, I've said all along that this would kind of be like your true Calder Cup final. I mean, these are the 1-2 teams in the league going at it, and I mean, absolutely, from top to bottom, from beginning to end, this was just as close-knit as you could possibly ask for. And there it is. Final buzzer, Peter Kochetkov with the shutout win. The Chicago Wolves are going to the Calder Cup finals. Woo! I can breathe. That shakes. Okay. Oh, I'm feeling great now. How are you guys doing?
You're finally okay. Are you okay now? Is everything good in the world?
For 20 at least until like tomorrow morning.
That's all I need to hear, buddy.
Until about 8 o'clock when I clock into work. Yeah, things are going great right about now. But wow, I mean, all right, let's just initial reactions. I mean, what do you guys got? Whether it's about Stockton, Chicago, this Game 6 performance. I've spoken a lot about both of these teams. This might be your guys' initial reaction seeing the two of them going at it. How did you feel about it?
I mean, my first thought is like, pour one out for the fans in Stockton. I mean, we just watched the bookend of tenure in Stockton that started in 2015 and ended here in Chicago tonight. And whatever's next for the franchise, I mean, we know it's a move to Alberta. We know it's a move to Calgary. And, to have the season that this team did and then to frankly kind of have it marred by the news in the midst of the Calder Cup playoffs that this team was gone. I mean, it kind of just sucks, right? And I mean, like, I know the timeline of things and it had to be the way it was, but not even getting into the on ice performance of the Heat, which, as we've talked about, I mean, even this game played really, really well for the majority of this game. That just sucks. That sucks for the city of Stockton, but at the end of the day, hopefully hockey's not gone from Stockton for too long, and hopefully they figure out what to do with the ice when hockey returns.
I hope it's a little better than that. But you could just tell, I mean, that as after the announcement was made that this team was no longer going to be in Stockton after this season, that obviously you have your diehard fans that are going to want to be there and support the team until the very end. But man, there were some games there in Stockton Arena where the atmosphere just wasn't there, that you could hear "Let's Go Wolves" chants in Stockton Arena. And I think that a lot of fans really kind of felt betrayed that they invested so much in this team and then had the carpet pulled out under them as they're getting primed for this cup run. And it's kind of, it's super unfortunate for that to have your fandom and to be invested in that and to just kind of be.
And you know what? The way I look at it, those even 2,000 fans, right, that went to that game, their actual final game, I'm sure in a lot of their minds that they wanted it to come back. A small part of them was hoping to say, oh, this isn't the last game. This isn't the last game. I know when St. John's left, we kind of found out in February, March-ish. And then everyone kind of left the arena. Oh, they're going to be back. They're going to win the next game in Syracuse. And you never do. Right. And it's kind of sad that, their last hurrah was never there. And you never want to see a team leave a city, but it's unfortunate. And you got to give them credit in that final game because Stockton played really well and they just ran into a hot goaltender. And I think that Coach Echo really stole the game for them in that last game, because without him, you've seen the turnovers, you've seen the power plays, and without that, they dumped 30 shots. And I would beg that at least half or more were good quality shots that a normal goaltender might have some struggles with. That's really a sight to see when you have that strong of a goaltender in Chicago. And I would be worried if I was Laval or Springfield, because they took down a very, very good Stockton team.
Yeah, this is a Stockton team that was, number one in the standings all season long until that pivotal last day of the regular season, which that's the reason why this game's being played in Allstate Arena instead of on that god-awful ice surface in Stockton. I had to get one more in before this team moved north. But you look at those turnovers in the opening half of that third period, and if those, we're talking a whole different game if Stockton can even bury one of those chances. And Kochekov was just razor sharp on that and making those huge saves with the pad. that allowed the opportunity for Ladnia to go away and score would eventually be the game-winning goal.
And you know what? These turnovers that we've seen, they're not your average turnovers. These are high quality, high stakes turnovers that leave a great player all alone in the slot or has a breakaway or whatnot. And we've seen some good goaltending. And for the Heat, you got to kind of think, right? At what point do you kind of cash one in too?
I mean, I think that's what kind of really hurts them is, when you got Phillips and Pelletier putting up, 2 and 1 points each in the series, that those are your high end guys that I want to say are your ride or die, because they've had some excellent contributions from guys like Justin Kirkland, Glenn Gaudin. They had Connor Mackey come in back from Calgary after they got eliminated to be a huge part of that blue line. And they had these contributors in their depth spots. But look at that. And, Chicago getting a depth player like Ivan Ladnia, who didn't even play all the games in this series. And then you have your captain, your number one guy, Andrew Podorowski, icing the game with that breakaway goal. That's the difference. I mean, you can't look at Chicago's tandem versus Dustin Wolf and see like, oh, well, was it one side playing the other? I mean, these two went head to head and played just some fantastic, just phenomenal hockey. And I think Chicago is able to weather those storms there early in the third period. And by Chicago, I mean Pyotr Kochetkov was able to weather those storms. But sometimes it's your goalie bailing you out, and sometimes it's you bailing your goalie out. And for all of those freebies that I said that the Chicago's goalies were giving up earlier in the series, and the team was able to bail them out, well, this time it was Kochetkov's turn. And here you go. He turned out, for a guy who had a shaky game 5 on the road, turned in probably his best performance of his career. I mean, fantastic goaltending for him.
So a little bit of breaking news. They just released the schedule for the Calder Cup finals already. Mm-hmm. It's going to begin Sunday afternoon at 4. There's 7 games in 10 days. It'll start June 19th and it'll be over by June the 29th. That's it.
Huh?
Real?
Wow. They'll play Sunday, Monday in Chicago. Then they'll play Wednesday and Friday, as well as Saturday in Springfield or Laval. And then it'll be back for Tuesday and Wednesday in Chicago.
Interesting, AHL.
Well, we were just talking about how what they're doing with these condensed schedules, and
you'd think the finals of all things would be the one where you'd kind of space it out a little bit, right?
Give them a couple days, right?
It's just absurd how late it's going. Frankly, like the playoff as a whole.
And then they'll play 1 game, and then another 2 games in a row, and then another 2 games in a row.
I think they fumbled that bag so much with those opening rounds that now it's becoming like frantic. That like, all right, we just got to kind of get it done. Because I remember like Milwaukee.
Are they trying to finish at the same time as the NHL schedule? Is that what they're trying to do? Because I know that the AHL was like 2 weeks behind or more.
They were definitely behind. And nothing lined up. Like I said, I remember when the second round started, Manitoba and Milwaukee were playing. They played 3 games before Chicago and Rockford even got 1 going. Why? Who knows? We never got an answer from the league. And so now everything just kind of is snowballing up until now. It's like, well, here you go. Which is
there's something to be said about getting the games done, and there's something to be said about schedule and confidence too. There's no way. Laval's got Place Bell essentially to themselves, from what I can gather. The Bell Center hosts all their big concerts and events, and I'm sure Chicago's the same way. I don't know about Springfield, but I mean, this is tough.
And Stockton tweeting, for an unforgettable year, for 7 seasons of Heat hockey, for 17 seasons of puck in LaPorte City. Thank you, Stockton.
Wow.
And most of the comments are actually fairly PG.
That's good.
Which
Oh,
feels like
the
I'm
San Jose
happy about
Barracuda
that.
Twitter hasn't logged in yet, have they?
they haven't. Yeah. No, the Barracuda are staying off of Twitter tonight. It would appear. But guys, any final thoughts on this one? And obviously, like we mentioned earlier in the show, we've got a really, really exciting Game 7 tomorrow night between Springfield and Laval. While we're here, let's just go around the horn. What the heck? Why not? Who you guys taking Game 7?
Oh, you're gonna make me pick that.
Hey, I'm 1 for 1 tonight. So is Zach. So
Momento's going to keep going.
Thank God. Yeah. Well, again, I picked Springfield at the beginning of this series. Since then, I've been moved into a partnership with an editor of mine who covers Laval. So I feel like it would be bad juju for me to pick against the Rocket. But then that's going to put bad juju on me for going against my original. I'm going to stick with Springfield. I picked the T-Birds before the series. I'm going to run with them. Deanna, I'm sorry. You can blame me for any mishappenings that might happen in your life from this point on. I'll take the blame.
I'm going to go with Springfield again because I think that it's been a pendulum. Each team's responded to another team's success so far, and it's been a couple of overtime games. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be that. Although they had the script flipped on them last night, I think Springfield's going to come back with a really strong Game 7 response tomorrow night, and they're going to book it. I think it's going to be probably a third period for them. I think.
I've got to say, I think it's going to be the Caden Primo show. I think Laval's going to find a way to do it. I really do. I think they're going to find themselves in the unfavorable position of having to fight for a Calder Cup with the Chicago Wolves.
Likewise.
How pissed off do you think my work's going to be when I tell them if this series goes 6 or 7 games that I'm going to have to take Tuesday, Wednesday off to cover them?
They should understand.
I think they would. We can get somebody from the league to write you a hall pass.
Replay this whole live stream to them, and that will be enough to say, "Oh, I'm devoted enough to go."
Not to mention the fact that you might need a mental health day or two in there, my friend, based on the stress levels that we had on this live stream today.
I might need a physical health day for what this team has given me in this series. Oh my Lord.
No, at least you're going to ram through it in 10 days. I mean, shoot, you just have to survive. If it goes 10 days, that whole series, 7 games, which for your sake, I hope it, maybe doesn't go all
10
the way.
days without food or water.
Intermittent fasting, but we do it for 10 days.
What a gauntlet.
I mean, hey, we got to do what we got to do, right? But any final thoughts from us before we wrap up this live stream? It's been a special one, folks.
It was great to witness the last of Stockton. Best of luck in Calgary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's it's obviously not the way that the Heat wanted their season to end, but take a look at taking a step in a different direction, and obviously maybe not right now in the midst of your season coming under, but in the coming days. Look at all the things you have look forward to next season with, sharing the rink with your parent club, being closer to that, connecting with a different fan base. I don't know if I want to say more involved because, you got your Calgary and Heat fans. I don't know what they're going to call them yet, but I think that the coaching duo of Mitch Love for Stockton and Ryan Warsofsky for Chicago are probably the 2 best coaches we have in this league right now. And I think my hot take for the week is that this duo is going to combine for a playoff series in the NHL at some point.
Without a doubt. Well, folks,
I will say it's nice for Stockton. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, right after you, Corey.
Oh, no, I was just going to say with Stockton, I know it's disappointing for them right now, but I will say it's nice they got to go out on their own terms. You got to see some teams like San Antonio that just kind of, already had the gut punch of losing their season in 1920, and then, double gut punch that they're just not coming back and that they, lose their team altogether. At least they got to go down fighting and swinging and, on their own terms in a sense, at least.
Without a doubt. Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap up this live stream of the Holy Grail. We loved having you in. If you really like us, you're going to want to follow us on Twitter. We're going to have a lot of content there at the Holy Grail. The way we spell it, you know how it is, at TheeHolyGrAHL. And if you really, really like us, you're going to want to follow each and every one of us around the screen on our own personal Twitters. I'm going to highly recommend that you follow this first person because they're going to have a lot of content coming up, and that's going to be my friend Andrew. Andrew, where can they find you?
You can find me at FPH Wolves, or if playoff hockey isn't your thing and you'd rather follow a last place team, you can find me at FPH Griffins.
And then you can find me at FPH Monsters or at FPH Americans, whichever you're feeling. Really, you're not getting much different content from either of those places right now. We're golfing on both of those accounts. So,
hey, me too.
And there's golf in Toronto at FPH Marlies.
You can follow me at CSWA11 on my personal or at HBH Nation blog. I'll have some highlights from tomorrow's game on my personal Twitter there as well, for sure.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to follow Corey through that. He's got really great coverage there. And we know, we got to plug everything else here on the network. We've got some other really awesome podcasts. We've got Inside the SPHL with James Hayes, Syracuse Speaks with Alexander Ackerman. Syracuse Speaks is a Syracuse Crunch-centric podcast that focuses on maintaining a balanced perspective in the ever-shifting world of minor league hockey. Monsters Musings with Jay Forrester and Dina Weinheimer. They discuss all of the good and the bad storylines surrounding the Cleveland Monsters. 3 Periods podcast with Matt Harding. All really great lineup here on Field Pass Hockey. And on behalf of the Holy Grail, we hope you have an amazing week, and we will see you next Thursday. We might even see you tomorrow. We might even do another live stream. Who knows? We'll leave that to the editors. But until then, hopefully you all take care of yourselves, and we'll chat soon.
Bye.